Hi guys, I just wanted to make this video. It is going to be a little bit on the long side, but it's to explain what we're doing today and plus what are we going into next. So we're doing something called balancing equations, and I think they're really fun. They're kind of like a puzzle you have to figure out in chemistry, and we do this all the time. And what it is chemical equations. So chemical equations show us when we take two different chemicals or elements and combine them to make a new one or new substance. So not a new element, new substance. So I take hydrogen and add oxygen together, created water, something like that. And that's what the chemical equation is showing us how we're doing it. But that's not what we're going to be focusing on. That's a separate topic. What we're really focusing on is how many elements in your compound do you have and do they balance with each other? Because remember, with the mass of conservation or conservation of mass, matter is not created nor destroyed. You start out with this amount of something, you have to end up with the same amount. So that's the same thing with atoms. It's just that they may be tied to a different element or they're just sitting by themselves. But you need to make sure you know how many atoms you have. So what we're going to be doing is this top box right here. So what we have done is we have our chemical equation. Now, a little background on how this works is if you see this arrow right here, or this kind of behind the gold bar, but this arrow tells you something. When it's pointing towards something, that means those are the products. That's what you're going to get out of this. Where it's not pointing on the other side, it's telling you what you started with, which are called the reactants. So that's what we're doing. So we're counting how many atoms of a compound do we have on one side versus the other side. And the idea is we got to get them to match. So we're doing something called the box method. And basically what we're doing is we're representing these compounds into boxes down here. Now I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So let's go back. So if you remember these numbers up here, these are called coefficients. Now they tell you how many of a compound you have. So I had 2 H2O2. Same thing here, I have 2 H2Os, and then I have 1 oxygen, or 1 O2. And what we have done is represent those in boxes below it. So, one box represents one compound, H2O2, H2O2. So I have 2 H's, 2 O's. But I had 2 of these, so I have 2 boxes. So that's on the left side. Now we need to go to the right side, over on this side. Now, H2O, we represent that box here, H210. But I had 2, so I have 2 boxes. Same thing goes with oxygen. 2 O's, but I only had 1, so 1 box. Now, what we're going to do is start on the left side, and we're going to count how much we have of each element. So we have only H's and O's. So let's start with H. What's this count? How many you have in those boxes altogether? So over on this side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 H's on the left side. Let's go to the right side. Let's count how many hydrogens I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 hydrogens on each side. This is good. So hydrogens are balanced. Now let's count the oxygens. Going back to the left side, I count 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 oxygens on the left. Now let's count the right. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're counting everything. It doesn't have to be in that same box. You're counting everything. So I have 4 oxygens. So 4 hydrogens and 4 oxygens on each side. That is to say it is balanced. So when you do right down here, you just take the answer and drag it over. So that's a yes. If it was a no, you take the no. So that's all we're doing here. So we're giving you the boxes and you just count. Now, the other part of the assignment is the one where we're going to actually kind of put in our boxes. Okay, so this is the second part of our assignment. So you can see that you have some boxes and then you have an equation, but I didn't give you how many of it. So you need to figure out how many it takes to balance it on each side by using these little boxes. So what you want to do is note what you have. Let's start on the left as usual. So I have an H2O. So let's get a box that has two H's, one O, and put it right there, right under the compound. Now let's go to the O2. So two O's, we'll take one of these little boxes. Now just remember, you're not using all the boxes, so don't try to put them on. You're only taking certain amounts of it. Now let's continue on the right side. I need to find one that has two H's, two O's. So that's this one right here. I'm going to put it right here. Now, looking at it, let's count how many hydrogens we have. So starting on the left, I have 1, 2. On the right, I have 1, 2. Well, that checks out. Let's count the oxygens, though. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3. That's on the left side. Now let's go to the right side. 1, 2. Well, we got 3 on this side, 2 on the other. That doesn't work out. We need to get them balanced. Now, this is where the puzzle comes in. How do you add more of those atoms? Well, you just can't take a single atom and stick them in. You basically have to use the same compound inside, or back inside. So, well, hydrogens were good, but we need to get the oxygens. There's 3 over here and 2 over here. Well, you can't just put a little oxygen here and call it good. That's not how it works. You have to use these boxes to figure that out. So looking at this, we can say, well, I can't add any more oxygens because if I continue adding, it will never, ever balance out. So maybe we can do something with one of these. Now, the H2H's O2 seems to add too many. We're just trying to add oxygens in here. So maybe if we look at it, maybe if I take another water, so I take another water and put it here, maybe that will fix it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Well, that didn't really do anything, did it? So now I have 4 here, but now I don't have 4 over here. So I got to figure out how can I add 2 more? Well, wait a minute. What? Can I just not add another one of these purple boxes in? So now I have 4 H's. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that works out. What about the oxygens? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's 4 on the left, going so good. On the right side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this works out. So just adding boxes and counting, you can see what you can do to balance out. So I have 4 H's, 4 O's, 4 H's, 4 O's on each side. I'm doing good. So the last thing I need to do is count how many boxes I have and put the number in this red square. I have 2 boxes, 2. This box, I only had 1 box. And this one, I have 2 boxes. So I am going to put a 2. And there you go. And that's how you do it. That's how we're balancing the equation using something called the box method. I'm sorry this took a little bit longer, but this is kind of a little bit harder thing to do, especially on distance learning. If you have any questions, you're more than likely to email me. I do have tutoring Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m.